to Fempreneur True Confessions.
And we are having our usual issues today. So we are going to get through this, embrace it, and love it today. And welcome, everyone. I am Laura. I am the owner of ODAA Virtual Assistant Agency. And we are a boutique style agency that helps small businesses and businesses in growth with tasks behind the scenes so that as the CEO and the owner of your company, you don't focus on all the stuff you don't want to do. You focus on all the stuff you love to do and let us handle the stuff you don't want to do behind the scenes. So, being able to support women in business and really watch you grow and be your cheerleader is like our big thing. So, that is who we are, or who I am.
So, yep, that's Laura and ODAA. And I am Angelique with Lady Powerhouse Solutions. And Lady Powerhouse Solutions is a heart centered approach to offering project and event management to women entrepreneurs on fire and lighten the world up with their passion and drive to achieve their missions. And we help them do this in the most authentic way possible.
Yes, wonderful. And together we are Fempreneurs True Confessions podcast. And our mission is to empower women in business and life to live authentically and support each other instead of competing within each other. So to model this authenticity through our business and personal relationships, we empower other women to do the same.
Right. So our goal with the podcast and with everything that we do, even in our own businesses, we're trying to normalize the struggles that we have as female entrepreneurs, as females, period, right? And share the lessons we've learned. And the common goal being to lift other women up and not tear them down and to normalize what it looks like when women succeed at supporting each other. And you guys, it looks awesome when
Yes.
you see other women supporting other women, building up their confidence, using their gifts and passions to fulfill their life's calling. So, the goal here is to build, maintain, and grow a sisterhood that believes in an abundance mindset and sharing our struggles and helping each other rise to our highest potential. So, Laura, introduce our guest today. I'm super
I
excited.
am excited, and we have Kris here today. Hi, Kris. And Kris is celebrated by audiences nationwide as a thoughtful, engaging, and generous teacher. Best-selling author Kris Miller speaks about financial freedom, second chances, and how to thrive in an uncertain economy. Wow, thanks. Kris Miller's life is centered on service to others and is built on the foundation of her own second chance. Mansions and forest fires, number one records, and a 3,000-mile barefoot journey across America, $1 million of chemotherapy, and an enduring legacy. Building and protecting people's financial security, Kris's stories are at once heartbreaking and uplifting along the way. Kris has saved more than 6,000 families from tragedy and financial ruin. She's been called a legacy wealth strategist for the simple yet powerful workshops and keynote presentations that she delivers to community groups, corporations, and governments. Kris has designed programs that transform people's relationship to money, debt and security, estate planning, and creating lives of celebration. In her private practice, no one has lost a single, gosh dang it, penny, and many others have learned how to create income they will never outlive, or income they will never outlive, and how to face the financial uncertainty of physical and mental health as we grow into our golden years. Kris has been a featured guest on hundreds of radio and TV programs. She's published in hundreds of print and online publications and spoken on stages across the country for companies and top financial organizations. She is a certified senior advisor, a legal document assistant or LDA, and She's been nominated for Woman of the Year and Best Customer Service by Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, Kris.
All right.
Welcome, Kris.
Woo, you got through. Yeah, thank you. I was going to start to sing the "We Are Family," right? All my sisters and me. You guys were talking about sisterhood, so
Yes,
I
I love it.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's cool that you mentioned that, because last month was one of my sister's birthdays, and we threw a party for her, and it was at a local karaoke bar. Is what she wanted, and so we decided to sing that song for her birthday. We are family.
Oh, cool.
I got all my sisters and me.
There you
And
go.
we-
Right.
it was so much fun. And unfortunately, someone streamed it on Facebook, but that's okay.
Yeah, no, never get a record deal or something. Who knows?
Right.
That would be nice. That would be nice. So welcome, Kris. Welcome. We've all had technical issues today. Restream is not talking to LinkedIn or vice versa. So we weren't able to live stream there. I went out there and left a comment and said, go to YouTube. We're on YouTube. So thank you all for joining us today. Drop us a comment if you're watching. And doesn't appear that anyone's watching right now. So I don't know why I said that. But anyway.
You can restream it again on later.
Right.
That's right. As soon as I see the little number pop up by the eye, I'll be sure to repeat that statement so that it's relevant. But anyway, thank you, Kris. I know, Kris, you and I connected. I don't even know how did we find each other? Do you remember?
No, not really. It might have been on LinkedIn. I'm not sure, honestly.
Yeah, I know that the reason we connected was because I was trying to start a nonprofit and I wanted to fund it as a private trust. And so I know we connected to talk about that. And you were just such a plethora of information and just so helpful. I just remember that about you. But let's get into it. This podcast is about being vulnerable and sharing one female entrepreneur to another, like what you've learned in your journey. And the reason is, like, why do we have to relearn this stuff? Why can't we let our fellow female entrepreneurs learn it, share it, and learn from it as well? And that's kind of where we come from. So the first question for you today is, what is one entrepreneurial blunder you've made, and what did it teach you?
Well, it's a real big one, and you had said something before that says, like, why don't we relearn it? And because there's so much competition, and I think what you guys are breaking that away to see, hey, we're not in competition, we can support each other. Yes. So that's how we can learn and lift while we climb, right? At the same time. So the errors of my ways, and this one I kept repeating. When I wrote my #1 best-selling book, Ready for Pre-Retirement, 3 Secrets for Safe Money and a Fabulous Future, I knew nothing about marketing. So it's like, okay, because I get getting pushed to write this book because what I do is so uniquely different. I was like, I don't write books, I write songs, and I kind of like God was telling me, you got to write this. No, I don't want to. Years later, okay, I started working on it. And then I realized, after you write the book, then you got to have marketing. What the heck is the marketing? I ended up getting a mid-tier publisher, but you still have to do all the work.
Yeah, they don't do the marketing.
Don't do the marketing. You have to do it all yourself. And I went
even
on
traditional publishing, they don't do a whole lot of marketing.
No, it has totally changed, especially in the last 10 years. So all of that being said, my business has been very successful, and I had a lot of extra money. And there's a trick there when you think, you have money, and I'm a money expert, but I wasn't an expert on spending it on marketing. And I'm very vulnerable in the sense that I'm honest. So if I see somebody up there that's a great marketer and they're really good, I get sucked in. And we're like, oh, you got to get this course, and then you get the coaching. And they all had a thing on them where you get so far, but you don't get it all because you got to buy the next thing.
Yeah.
And then you got to buy the next thing. And I could go through all the names. They're very familiar names that you guys all know. big time guys that are doing the marketing, little guys, masterminds. Well, I went for it. I went for it with like 6 figures into trying this and trying that. In fact, I have a
Oh,
whole stack of programs that I've never even opened because I'm not a marketing person. I hate it. I don't want
right,
to do it.
right.
It's just not my thing. Anyway, I ended up, spending an embarrassing amount, and it is embarrassing to admit because I'm such a saver, right? That I did that because I thought it was all to help people and get the info out. So that was a big error, and as a result of that, now I see that if I would have really been strategic and taken the time out to mind map it, right? Mind map it out. Who, what, where, when, and how. And that's how you do it. You set who, who's your target, how, and that system of masterminding, that's where I'm headed anyway. But the actual mind map and that organization, instead of throwing it at the wall, like, oh, let's just chase this one and chase that one. That's what I'm doing differently now. And now I am on the journey where I have a podcast called Money 911, and I have a course that I'm about to launch called Create Income You'll Never Outlive, that's going to morph into a mastermind called Conscious Giving Council, to use the money that and the energy of money, because that's all it is, to change the
Right.
world, right?
Yeah.
So that's that. That's what I learned.
Awesome.
That's what I learned from that.
So you learn to be strategic
Right.
and to take the time to think.
Yes.
Take the time to think. Those are great nuggets.
Right.
And it's really serendipitous that you talk about this, because I'm actually collaborating with a marketing company and a website company. And we're putting out a product to do just that, to help authors market their book. And it starts before you start to write.
Right. Absolutely.
It starts with the title. It starts with, what are you writing and who are you writing to?
Exactly.
What's your avatar? Who's your ideal market? Who's your ideal target market?
Right. Right.
And
it's the same structure that you can overlay on whatever project you're in, if it's book writing or
yes,
course creation.
yes,
Right. Because it's the same archetype.
yes.
Well, it's the same thing, you tell when people are building the business, like first things first is what are you doing and who are you targeting, and, to
what's
really
your business
get
plan?
Yeah.
And there's the mind map, right? The business plan, which was, I never really had a business plan when I started my business, because I was just going by the feeling of what was coming to me. And I was blessed with it to have a successful business, but I didn't, I kind of lucked out with, divine spirit that it worked out okay. But most people need to mind map it, to have a business plan and to keep revisiting it and upgrading it and see where you're winning and see where you're losing and tighten it up, right?
Yeah. And it's interesting you talk about mind mapping and mapping and specifically, because we're actually just started a new book called The Desire Map. And it's all about what are your desires and letting that lead what you do.
Right.
And it's so good. It's so good. And we're only in the first section, just learning about what are our desires? Why do we have them? What are the, what's the benefits? And because really when we're setting goals, we don't really want that thing. We want the feeling that thing gives us.
Right. And a lot of times it isn't we think that those desires or the things that, we think we want is going to give us that feeling. And that, I think, is the journey of life for our spirit, our soul, that, like, oh, I want this. Oh, if I have a lot of money, then I'm going to be this, or I have, a great relationship. And a lot of times we're looking for it in the wrong places. And I think that's the journey of life, to learn the real target.
Right, exactly.
Because really all of us are ultimately looking for connection, to be loved, to be seen.
Yeah, exactly.
And
this is really.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's very good.
And that's what's
So,
real. Yeah.
well, you next we were going to ask you to share a story that taught you an important lesson about your financial health and well-being and helped you create the life you desire. And I think you've probably touched on that a little bit already.
Well, yeah. When I first started my business, I really was I was a paralegal and I was working with an attorney and we were doing living trusts and we were at the senior center with a little widow and all she had was a car and a house, no money. And this is 1991, probably when you guys were born. Anyway, yeah, so I'm sitting there with this attorney and she's not in the room and I said, "Hey, can you give her a deal?" And he said, "No." And it hit me. It was like so cold and so heartless. Like, $5,000 he wanted to charge her for a living trust. And he couldn't even give her a deal. She had no money, but she needed a trust. She had a house, and it was like,
Mhm.
it was
Mhm.
so ouchy to my heart because I'm a
Yeah.
giving person. I said, "Okay, bye." And
Uh-huh.
that's what started my business. And as I started this business, because I was at the time, I was giving trusts away for $199. And the same trust that was 5,000 was just hilarious because
Okay, hold on. Let's let your internet catch up with you, the rest of you. We're losing you. We're losing you, Kris. Oh no, she's completely froze up. Hold on.
I'm
I know you're here.
okay.
Nope, you're frozen.
Try it, click on your camera and then click back in.
Okay.
What do you mean, Laura?
Sometimes if you go off screen and let the internet and then come back on.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah, that worked. That's a cool trick.
Okay.
All right, we're
Good
learning
one.
all kinds of
Okay.
stuff today.
Okay, where did we leave off?
You were giving away trust for 199 that should be, 5,000 or he was
Right.
charging 5,000 for.
Right. Back in 1991. Right. So anyway, long story short, that's what projected my business. That's what got me going to make it easy for the average person to get this. So then during this time, I've been in practice for 32 years. I've seen over 6,000 people. And as they come in, they bring their portfolios and they all, their whole estate. And a lot of them would come in at 50, and don't feel offended if this is you, 50, 60, 70, 80 to start their retirement plan. And it was like, what? What's going on here? You go to school, you learn how to make money, you get out of school. What do? Go make money and give it to somebody else to gamble. And then what I saw, the market was like a roulette wheel. Will it be up or down when you retire? I hated that feeling for myself. So that pushed me into, well, I lost money. I was doing the same thing that everybody else did.
Right.
And I lost money, right? And that pushed me into, wait a minute, something wrong here. There's something that I'm not being taught even as a planner, right? At that time. So I dug into the safe money world, which was not a commonly known thing. Living trusts have been around since the Middle Ages. The safe money strategies also had, but nobody knew about them because it wasn't big money. And so the losing the money in my life forced me, crashed me, but it forced me to research and dive deep into a bigger way that now I can help a whole lot of little sheepies that are about to go off a cliff right now. Because these next few years are set to be kind of intense, right?
Yeah.
And it's really important to people to get safe. And they don't know what safe is. They think it's a bank or something, right? So there's a lot of drill down on all of that. But that's what pushed me, right? That down, losing made me learn how to gain. You could say that, right?
Right. It's always
So how
interesting how, you hit that wall and that experience where, you said you're the planner, like everybody you're supposed
Yeah.
right, you're supposed to have all the answers,
Yeah.
but there's just no way to, and things change so fast.
Exactly.
With,
Yeah. It was like I'm I'm a financial planner. I'm losing money. And went into a world, uh, pretty much masculine men
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
drove it. And their drive and their energy around what they did around money wasn't very compassionate. And it was
Mhm.
very, yeah, I'd go to these big conventions and it was like, you'd go down the hall and it was like, hi. And they wouldn't even say hi to me. Like,
Right.
wow, what's wrong? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
Because
not
your
that bad.
competition.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
competition, you're a threat
And
somehow,
they're
some way, you know.
it's very sharp, very edgy. And
Mhm.
what I realized when I started to learn about it is I could make a lot more money selling stocks. I make money holding stocks. I make money moving stocks. I make money even when I don't do anything. But I couldn't look you in the eyes and say, hey, you got to buy this stock, but I don't want it. I can't do that. I couldn't do that kind of market. So it's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to find something safe. I own what I sell. And it
Mhm.
isn't a product, it's a whole plan. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of being, right? It is health, wealth, and peace of mind. It isn't just around money, because money's just energy.
Mhm.
It's an
Absolutely.
exchange. It's an
Yeah.
Yeah.
energy exchange. You're exchanging one energy for another.
Yeah, that's how the barter system, got started. Our money is absolutely fiat money. There's no gold behind it. And it is really, it's going to catch up with everybody. And there's going to be some huge changes in this money world, what's going on with it.
Mhm.
But the energy of it, even how people can attract it or push it away by the things that they do or think, is amazing. So much of it is behavioral. I
Mhm.
found that I spent more time coaching people on their money mindset than actually filling out applications, because there's
Yeah.
such an emotion like, oh, my dad
Yes.
banked at
Yes.
the bank, or my husband had this and I don't want to sell it because
Mhm.
he had it. It's
Yeah.
so emotional.
Or
And
you're taught not to talk about it because a lot of us, if you have a job, you could be threatened to be fired for speaking about money situations, how much you made and what you're doing, and those. It was a big no. Like,
Yeah.
wow, that's crazy. I didn't, how intricate it's gone to the way that the whole society's gone is it's like, don't say anything, right?
Mhm.
And,
Yeah. Yeah.
and about, like we're used to be just speak the truth. Like you speak your truth, I speak my truth, and we, might agree, we don't agree, but we still love each other. Doesn't mean I
Right.
can't like you because you don't think or eat the same way I eat. We're all on a journey, and the journey is to be enlightened and to me, is one with God and the Spirit, and
Yeah.
beautiful, everlasting, not death and destruction. But
Right.
how does that look in our life, where we're dealing with health and our wealth and our peace of mind, and how we save money? And that's the biggest problem, is most people can't save money. Most people spend, just like the government, more than what we have, right? 32 trillion in debt. And they're going to, keep raising the credit card thing. No, you take the credit card from the kid and say, okay, you're going to pay this back, and you can't use it anymore. no
Yeah.
one's no one's taught that. Nobody's
Mhm.
taught how, and then how to feel good around it. And that's
Mhm.
part of some of the coaching that I do with people, is it shifts your mind, where when you put that money into your DNT account, do not touch, it's the same experience that you get. You get the endorphins, or right, the good feeling around,
Yes.
wow, that feels good, just like the Starbucks you would have bought, or the new shoes, or the whatever, your purse, or whatever you're
Yeah.
attracted to. You
Yeah.
get that good feeling around saving. Imagine that. It was like, wow, you feel good about yourself because you're investing in your fabulous future, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's empowering,
It is
I
right?
love.
empowering.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
that's one thing that, I can totally get behind, and I see a lot of other women doing the same, is they're wanting to empower women to make money, invest money, and have that power, because that's, unfortunately, money and wealth. That's where a lot of power and energy lies in our country and our world. And
Mhm.
in order for us to make the impact that we want to, we need that energy. We need that money.
Yeah.
And you said it. You just said it. It's an energy, because I've stood here with lots of money and I've stood here with not money,
Mhm.
both. And it was my consciousness, my state of being, right? The way that I think, which makes me wealthy. So I can walk into the room and there's favor, there's a light on you. And you could be totally broke because that's not who I am. The money's not who I am. What happens if it all goes away? Am I going to lose myself?
Right.
No.
Do I stop
I'm
existing?
still going to be good, right? Right. I'm still going to be blessed, but I mean, you have less beans or something.
Right.
So it is a state of being that we've identified it to money or relationships or looks, right? Or all of those things. And those are superficial to the reality of what it really is.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I love it.
Yeah.
And you talk about three secrets for safe money in a fabulous future. But let's talk about what were the things that taught you those 3 secrets. And again, we've probably touched on a little bit of this, and we want to know what those 3 secrets are.
Yeah. Well, thanks. That is a great question because, that's like the tagline of the book, 3 secrets for safe money in a fabulous future. So it's not that it's secret. Nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
So, you don't want to talk about death and taxes, right? Nobody wants to talk about money, really. I have clients that come in that have money in IRAs or 401ks after this last, lose 25, 40, 60%. And a lot of people, I'm not even looking. Really? You're spending all your life working and you're not going to even look at what's going on with your money? Like maybe you should put something away that's safe. And so people are in a fear energy around it instead of the empowering around it. So how I learned was basically because I had so many clients, and I would, preach about it or talk about it, but it wasn't until I had my own family nightmare that got me like shocked. Like when my mommy came up to me, she had this paper in her hand. She's like, honey, what's wrong, Mom? She had big tears in her eyes. She says, will you share this with your clients? And I'm like about to cry, right? We're talking about crying. And I know that's how she empowered me so much. That's how I can share it without crying. I go, what is it, Mom? It's a bill from Stanford Hospital for 5 days of chemo. Guess how much it was?
Oh,
$90,000 for 5 days. She had chemo 5 days every month for a year. Do the math, right? $1 million is not a lot of money. A lot of people think, oh, I got $1 million and that'll take me it was not a lot of money. Now, thank God, my daddy was a genius and he was very blessed. He went to Caltech and even studied under Einstein. So he did very well in his life. He had multi-millions. And so they didn't have long-term care insurance. And I suggested it, but I never really pushed anything. And he was like, no, I'm never going to a nursing home. He was, had his way of doing it. And so, okay. And my mommy had cancer for 10 years. So they went through millions of dollars. One day my dad said to me, honey, you might get $1 million. He didn't say it like you're getting $1 million. And then a few years later, he said, you might get something. And I said, Dad, I only want you. And that's really how I looked at it, never counted on it. But they ended up spending down millions. Thank God they had it for my mom. And my dad ended up outliving my mom. And he was working till he was 91.
Wow.
And never been to a hospital, and then went to Stanford Hospital and got aspiration pneumonia at the hospital. The doctor comes in and says, he's only got 1 day. And I went, no, you're not God, and I don't believe you. And we're going home now. Goodbye. And we took our dad, and he, because he wanted to live to 100, and he lived another 6 years, went to 96.1 and stayed at home. And we had a wonderful, we actually wrote his book and but the beautiful thing about it was that all of that nightmare got wrapped into my passion, because the 3 things that I see people miss are protection of assets from catastrophic illness. That's that story. Long-term care. We all learned that from the pandemic, right? It's not an age thing. Protection of assets from probate, conservatorship, making sure you have a living trust, powers of attorney for financial, health care, all of those. And then protection of assets from the Great Recession. Here we are again. You guys really don't believe what you see on the TV set because you're not being told the truth. We really are in some very critical times on all levels, health, wealth, and peace of mind. But we're talking about money right now. So there are safe places that you can store your money where you never lose your principal. And some of them are tax-free. And when I found out at 58, man, I was so mad. Why didn't anybody tell me that? Because I could have started it, a lot younger and retired earlier, knowing that strategy. And these are strategies that the 1% use that the average person doesn't know about. So that's part of my goal, is to be able to share it with the masses so that everybody's empowered and everybody can have a fabulous life.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story, and of course all of your secrets, and being vulnerable with us. It takes courage to say, I made a mistake and it was big, and this is what it was, and this is what I learned from it. So hopefully others, we don't have to go out and make the same mistakes and learn it the hard way ourselves. We can go, my friend Kris, she said she did this and this happened. I'm not doing that. And that's really what we should be doing for each other as women, as people, period, whether you're a woman or not, help each other.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, thank you again, Kris. And Kris is offering a free financial fitness strategy session. We're going to drop that link in the show notes, but it's really easy. Meetwithkrismiller.com. And it's Kris with a K, as you can see here in the video, Kris, and Miller spelled just like it always is, just like Miller time. Hey. I'm going to have me some Miller time. And then I kind of took, Laura, your thing. Laura usually does the free offer, but so do take advantage of that free strategy session with Kris. I know you won't regret it. I don't think I've had one, so I think I might need one of those too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, you guys. It's so empowering because what I do, I can do it in 15 or 20 minutes. I can ask your age, your health, your wealth, and then I can find out how I can help you. And then I'll literally, and this is worth if a couple, 2 to 3 sessions, if I can help you, that's like $1,000 if you paid me, like for 3 sessions. And it's not a charge. And I go out and I research what I'm talking about, how it relates to you, your age, and your situation. So it's custom. I give you your own class. I send it to you so you can ask me questions and learn. Because part of the things that I see you guys doing is you're empowering people to learn. Because the thing that I saw was all the people would come to my office and I'd ask them, where's your 401k? Where's your IRA? And they'd be like, Merrill Lynch, or they name a company, but they didn't really know what was.
Funds. Yeah.
And they didn't know how it worked. And they were like disempowered, like strangled. So this is freeing for you, because then you will be empowered. You'll know what you have. You'll know you'll be safe. You'll know you have tax-free income. And it's it's a great feeling for sure.
And the other thing, I wanted to thank you for wearing pink. Laura, you and I need to get some pink because you are decked out and you look so good today.
Oh, thank you.
It's just perfect. We don't wear pink. We need to wear pink.
I used to wear it all the time, and then for some reason I got away from it. I don't know how. But
it's happy. This was my mommy's sweater, and I'd never liked bright colors. And then I inherited her clothes, and it was like, whoa! It just looks so happy, and it's cool. Right.
Yeah, we need some pink for sure. We have
you got your little names in pink.
Right.
Right. That definitely be part of your brand. You definitely.
Yeah, we need to get some pink for sure.
There you
So, Kris, would you like to introduce our guest for next week?
Okay.
That's something
Sure.
we try to do with this is have one guest introduce the next one just to be supportive of each other.
Jen is a subject matter.
Okay, hold on. Your camera's doing
internet.
that thing again. So click your camera off and on and see if it's pixelating you. And
Okay.
hiccuping.
Okay. This okay.
Looks
Yep.
better.
All right. Okay. Well, let's go. Okay. Dr. Jen is a subject matter expert in leadership and emotional intelligence and communication. She has many passions and skills, tapping into experience and knowledge to help inspire, motivate, and empower others to become their own versions of excellence and to create the greatest good. Using her expertise, Dr. Jen helps women in all stages of life embrace who they are and become more skilled in life and leadership. Life happens and life continues. How we handle life is how we handle leadership. And leadership is a state of being, not a title. Everyone is leading in some manner. Dr. Jen is also a U.S. Navy veteran, entrepreneur, and VP of operations for a nonprofit journal publication organization. She is a doctor of management in organizational leadership, has a master of business administrations, is a certified NLP master coach and trainer, and holds many other leadership certifications. Welcome, Dr. Jen.
Yes, we are going to be, we're really excited to have her with us next week. Yeah, and our only ask today is subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube channel or wherever you listen or watch the podcast. Be sure to subscribe and support us that way. So once again, Kris, thank you so much for being with us today. It's been great. And
Thank you. My joy.
Thank you. And we will see you guys next week.